Welcome back to the feed, everybody. The nails are painted blue, and that must mean it's time for some bike racing. We are back in Pontiac, Michigan at the M1 Concourse for the M1 Cycling Classic. Last year, 2022, I was a Cat 4. I did the Cat 4-5 and the Cat 3-4 race. Won the Cat 4-5 race and took 5th in the Cat 3-4 race. This year is a Cat 3. They didn't do a Cat 3-4 race, so only race I was eligible for is racing with the big boys, racing the P123 race. So definitely going to be a little bit different of an experience for me. I apologize if you're having to watch me play with my nails. I think I had just painted them, and which is a weird sentence for me to stay still, but I wasn't really used to it, and yeah, so that's disgusting. What are you gonna do? It is what it is. We'll get into the race here in a second. So, really big field. Just to note, I've been really used to, and I think most races these days, at least around here, 20 to 35 people. I think we ended up cresting over 50 racers in this one. I think 47 or so finished, but I think the number was a little bit over. Maybe we got to 55 racers on race day. And so really big field that will come in to play later on, and I'll call that out. But really awesome just to see this many people coming out to race. So, independent of more racers, more competition, it was really cool to be in a big field. And I'll be going to Intelligentsia here pretty soon. And so, there'll probably will be some bigger fields there. So it's good for me to feel out what it's like to have a bigger field and, the pros and cons of that. So with that, we are off and starting the race. Right off the bat, just trying to get in, what I learned, and I haven't posted, I won't post the Zealand Pro race anyway, because I only did about 10 minutes of it, but what I learned, that the Zealand one was really my first pro race that I even sat in on, and in that one, I found that, if you think you're in the middle of the group, you're probably actually right at the back, and as soon as you're at the back, you're hammering just to stay on. And so because of that, my plan here for this whole race was to try to sit like 10th wheel, thereabouts. Really, if in my mind, if I say I'm trying to sit 10th wheel, that means maybe I'm middle of the pack, I'm falling backwards, but I'm always trying to stay about 10th place. And so that was really kind of my plan going into this. Obviously, never be at the front. With the washing machine, you'll touch the front at some point, and I'll do that here as we come around to the end of the lap. I think is about when I touch the wind for half a second, and then I'm done. But by trying to stay towards the group, it'll at least keep me from being off the back, was really my plan going into this. Had no delusions about trying to go into any breaks. Just wasn't my prerogative. I figured sit in and actually make it to the end of a pro race. So here's our hairpin turn. I was really happy with the lines I was able to take. When I wasn't forced to the inside, just because people were there and I didn't want to try to drop places. But when I was in the line, I felt like I could take a really good line, staying way to the outside for most of the hairpin and then coming into the apex really late. The problem that I had was, with other people taking different lines, inevitably people kind of cut back across or they're cutting in. And so, you can't carry as much speed as you'd want to unless you're ultra aggressive. Which I'm not, at least not with this group. So anyway, didn't want to be in any breakaways, just didn't want to get dropped. That was really my goal. And so so we're coming around, coming out of that straightaway after the hairpin, coming up to the only hill on the course here. I'm second wheel again. People are just rotating, and so. I know he's gonna pull off at some point, but I'm not worried. I'll get yelled at. I think somebody says, get off the front, Andrew, one of my teammates. But I wasn't doing anything. You'll see that probably in the power numbers. I would assume. couple, 2 seconds at threshold, I would assume, and then dropping off. But we'll see. We'll see together what I do. So here, this will be the start-finish line we're coming to. So here we go to a sweeping right-hand turn to the start-finish. And yeah, you can see, I mean, I did nothing on that, right? That was always my plan. I pull off, and right here will be the start-finish for the final sprint. If we get to it, that's going to be the important spot. But, that's the end of the first lap. We'll cut ahead to some interesting moments, but that was the lap at the M1 concourse. Okay, I've obnoxiously just cut ahead like 30 seconds. Not very much. We just went through that hairpin turn on the second lap. I just want to call out how big of a split this is, so you can see. We just hammered it every single hairpin. You can just see, everyone's out of the saddles, everyone's hammering. You can see kind of the splits that happen here. They start to close a little bit compared to right off of it, but it's still, you can't see quite in front of us. But there's a couple bike lanes behind me, and then as we come around this corner, you're gonna see how far up the rest of the field is. You can see a couple guys off, 2 guys off the front, but you can just see how much further ahead they are. It's strung out. This is, I think, the difference between the P1, 2, 3, and then the 3, 4, 4, 5. 4, 5, maybe hammered it a couple times throughout the race. The 3, 4 hammered it every other lap or every third lap. This race, it just felt like you had to sprint out of that hairpin turn every single lap, which obviously was exhausting. And then if especially because there's that hill right after the straightaway, people are going to hit up that, and it's just if you didn't take that hairpin turn well, and if you didn't take it towards the front, you're just chasing and chasing, and it really is exhausting. So it's really interesting to see how. And it always came back together again. A lot of strong riders. No one's getting dropped yet, but it takes a lot of energy. That's why it's really better to be towards the front. I'm mid-pack right now, probably. So as we come around this corner, you're going to see us passing people to the left. That was the women's Pro 1-2-3 race that was being run concurrently. I'll highlight it later in the race, but for the most part, there was no issues with running both of them at the same time. There's one time that we passed them right before the hairpin. If you're towards the very front, which I was, at that moment it was fine because you kind of get in front of them before the hairpin, but 2/3 of the field had to pass them in the hairpin, which obviously is certainly less than ideal and a little sketchy. So some complaints, I think, due to that one about running the 2 fields concurrently, but for the most part, it really wasn't an issue. You can see, after that hard sprint, it settled down, everybody kind of came back together, bunched up there, but we're already back to the hairpin again. Yeah, so this one's a good example of, where we're not in a straight line. I'm forced to stay inside the whole time. So you can't take that perfect line through the hairpin. And just, it definitely, you feel how much slower you come out. You're worried about, going too wide into somebody, or, even having somebody on the inside, and you're just kind of in a middle lane, and you gotta try to keep that perfect middle lane. Able to obviously stay in this group. I don't think we'll hit it quite as hard this time. I did follow this guy's wheel to get way back towards the front, which was really nice. Again, I don't think people went super hard this time, which was good, but it's good to find those spots when you can move back up. And here's a spot where I found myself way towards the back. I think this guy found himself in the same place. And it was just nice, he kind of found the path through, and I could just sit on his wheel towards it. I jumped ahead a few minutes here, back at the hairpin turn. Another one where I find myself having to stay way inside, take the unoptimal line. And this is one where you really want your speed into it because people just hammer out of it. You can see I go full sprint mode for a second there, well above 1,000 watts. Some of that, it always feels, in hindsight, you kind of get, okay, was that inefficient? Because I am right back on the wheel. Probably could have stayed a little lower. And, gotten there 1 second later. You don't want to use it between matches. There was only a couple seconds up there, so it's not a big deal, but you start to see everybody hammer it, get out of their saddle, you just want to make sure you don't miss it. Once again, field's real stretched out here. I start to feel that, so I pop out to the outside thinking, one place where I could try to make up a couple wheels is on the hill if I can make it to the outside, so I do exactly that here. People stay on the inside, so I try to get a couple positions. The problem is the turn up here is a left, and so you do really want to be outside, so I only end up making up like one position. Just always being cognizant of how far back am I. Usually that's, you don't be super far back in case there's a move. For me, I just don't want to start getting into that yo-yo effect, being in the back, so just trying to make sure I'm in the front half. Okay, we've jumped ahead a few minutes. The break has just been established. We'll see them come around the hairpin right before we're going into it. Mostly, I'm not really jumping in now because of that, but honestly just because I like this hairpin. It's such a cool feature. It's just fun to watch, kind of go through. Well, it's fun to go through it. I'm not sure if it's fun to watch. You can decide, but you see a couple of people kind of go in really early, and I'm just trying to keep that outside line until the last second and come back in. I could have stayed wider even, but it's so much fun to do that and carry some speed, hammer the sprint right after. Again, people are pretty eager to chase down this breakaway. It's not happening right now. That breakaway stays away, but eager group hard out of the hairpin because of that. I'm gonna let this run for about a half a lap, just to watch some bike racing until the next kind of interesting thing is gonna happen. Again, I'll just let this roll for about a half a lap. Actually, can I just comment on how slow Alex's cadence looks throughout some of this? I'm doing 96. Okay, not right now, but let's let it. Look at that. Look at everyone else's legs. Look at his. I'm doing 93, 94. Back into the hundreds. I was doing 112 just a second ago. I think he's just pedaling at like 83 RPMs. I don't know. Looks slow to me. Okay, I'm going to turn the sound up and stop talking here. Just remember, there is a breakaway. We are trying to chase it down, and sometimes you got to give some encouragement. So a lot going on there. So again, we're chasing down or attempting to chase down the breakaway, and we have nobody from our team in it. And what happened was, somebody towards the front hammered it, kind of making a little bit of a bridge attempt, and people weren't following that attack, weren't following the wheels. Alex had just been on the front a little bit ago and had been doing the tempo to help pull it back, and some of it's psychological, and you gotta try to encourage other people to do work too. If you want to bring it back, you can't do all the work yourself, and so that was some encouragement to to push, and it's good for them too, right? They need to follow the wheels to be a part of that chase back onto it. But you need people to participate other than yourself, and so that was our encouragement from Alex, the enforcer. But it helped. It worked, right? People started surging. People started going. People followed the wheels, and not that we caught the breakaway, but that effort from one person wasn't wasted. The rest of the group surged and caught up to them and kept that pace high for at least a little bit there. And since we're here, so this guy in front of me in the gray or white kit is a MMA fighter, professional MMA fighter, who happened to be in town, and likes to ride bikes. But the dude's just absolutely jacked, just quads for days. So I knew, figured if it came down to a sprint, smaller guy, looks like he should just be a track sprinter. But okay, so we just thought, God saved me. I'm so happy that people like who I don't know who it was that in red who just went. I'm happy they exist. I just don't think I could ever be whoever that person is. Just hammers it out of the group. I don't know if it's to animate us, for us to chase down, keep that pace high. I don't know if this person honestly thought they were just going to solo their way to the breakaway. But it's beautiful. I'm just, I'm happy these people exist, because I'm not one of them. I'm sitting on this dude's wheel wishing his quads were even bigger to give me a bigger draft. That's all I'm thinking about. I don't want to be in the wind. I think I was in the wind on that first lap. I don't think I've been in the wind since. I don't think I'm in the wind for the rest of the race. And this guy I'm going to go. I don't know. Takes a different personality than I have, for sure. So we're coming down that straightaway, going to come to the hairpin turn. And this is where things almost fell apart for me. So we're going to come around this corner, and this guy in front of me had been taking these really inside lanes the whole time. You can kind of hear I have the volume turned down, but I try to explain to him, you got to take the apex way later. And, I had the speed coming out of it. And so I just go to chase this guy down who took that flyer earlier. And so I chase him down after giving the advice. And, I even go to the front, right? If we got some speed, I'll... I think that's John. I think that was John that did that. Yeah, he has the energy and the enthusiasm for flyers. I don't do that. God save him. Good for him. So anyway, I went to the front for just a second, just to kind of keep the pace going, right? You pass the guy, just keep the speed for a minute. Well, coming out of that hairpin is when people hear attack. You'll see this on the right side. That's where the real attack happened. Multiple people going. Everyone reacts. And I had just chased on to John, and now it's hurting. It's hurting really bad. So I was like, yeah, out of this group I was at the very front. I was in first. Not placing, but I just mean I was at the very front, very very tip, and I am just going backwards and backwards. So, I'm still latched on here, but I'm hurting. I'm hurting really bad. And there's another acceleration, and I just can't match it. You can see I'm at 300, not 600 like I should be. Try to push it, but there's a big gap here, and I think I'm dropped. I 100% think that I'm dropped here. Still got, but this is what I was gonna say. We're having 50 plus guys in the race really matters, because these guys don't want to get dropped, and so they're gonna go around me. And all that means is, again, it's just another opportunity for me to jump on a wheel and try to get some draft. But I couldn't react to that one. I'm trying. I got a little of encouragement right there. Just try to get myself up there. It's all you need is one guy saying, Andrew, you can do it. Again, it's for them. Make me do the work instead of them. But for me, if they don't say that, then I might just not even try and not make it. But here, I still haven't closed this gap. Still can't do it. But there's still more guys in the race who can go around me. So again, just more opportunity to catch on. So Leo's gonna come around me. He asked me, "Are you good?" I'm like, "No, my legs are burning. And I don't know if I can keep going." But hey, we're still on. Haven't gotten dropped. You can still see there's a lot of guys behind me. It's having this big of a field is awesome, because I'm getting dropped, just getting dropped. But there's going to be an opportunity for me to jump onto these guys and try to save my race. It's just more keep coming. This field was huge, again, just relative to what I'm used to. And so, I had a little bit of opportunity as I fell back to catch my breath a little bit. Luckily, the pace also relents here, and I'm able to be back on, just coasting to catch back onto the group. Now I'm at the very back, so of course, there could be yo-yoing and all those sorts of things, but all it takes is just, I think the key here is, all it takes is just a few seconds here and there to recover after those hard efforts. So I'm happy to be kind of stuck in a big cloud of people and hoping to use that. Still have to push hard, but even just having that coasting for a few seconds, it's enough to recover a little bit. But you can see how spread out the field is. You don't want to be at the very back. It's how you get dropped. It's how if the field splits. No crazy crosswind or anything here, so not as worried about that. But as I recover, and again, it doesn't take very long here to do it. I'm going to try to make my way back up to the front. And here you can see it's just another place where I was able to make up spots. That's all it took. We're talking half a lap maybe from when I finally caught back onto the field and stopped dropping positions to being able to come to the outside and make up maybe 10 positions. Not a lot, but kind of feel more securely in the group than dangling off the back. Of course, just when you think you're back in a good position, it's bike racing, and things happen. So we're coming back to the hairpin turn. I feel like I've taken all of the corners really well so far, but that doesn't mean the next time isn't going to be the time where you fuck up. So.
Oh, that's worse. That's worse. Fucking A. Fucking A.
Yeah, so coming through that hairpin, I think I just kept my pedal down on the inside or just not all the way up. I don't think I was pedaling. You know, it shows RPMs. I don't know if that's true. I think it just is slow to update. But yeah, so struck my pedal, and I guess when I struck my pedal, it actually popped my cleat out of the pedal, and so it wasn't such a big deal striking the pedal because it was, again, it wasn't like a full strike, and I was fine. It just kind of woke me up. But then when I went to sprint coming out of that corner, my foot completely came out of the pedal, and that really messed me up. You know, had to quickly get it back in and sprint to get back into the group. Definitely didn't want to get dropped again after almost getting dropped just one lap before. Okay, we've jumped way ahead. So in the last 30 minutes or so of the race, the breakaway has stayed away. There's been some real small attacks or surges by the group, but really nothing that's stuck or nothing that's really been meaningful. So again, about 2.5 laps to go here. What we just saw was Alex from our team and a couple other people kind of attack off the front. So there's going to be about 2 or 3 of them up there here in a second. So we're going through the hairpin turn. You know, everyone's surging. But we do have now just two riders up the road. Maybe it's 3. But again, there's a group of about 10 also up the road, in the breakaway. So no one here is sprinting for kind of anything that matters, or any chance at this point to catch the break. They're way up ahead of us. But there was an attack, including with our team, a reaction by the group, but not one strong enough to catch back on. So we see them up there. Fast tempo. People attacking hard to catch back on here. You can still see that group, off in the distance, up ahead of us, and then, another group right here, a little closer, and then, this small group of people I'm with. And we're coming through with now 2 to go. Be 2 laps left to go here. We'll just let it play all the way through. See how this one ends. For us, spoiler alert, you will not see how it ends for the front of the group. So we're chasing to get to the group that was, kind of surging to get back up to the couple of guys, including Alex, who are off the front, in front of the group, not in front of the whole race, but here. See, we catch back onto 2 of them, but we still got, looks like 2 up the road. Another one here comes back. So here I'm thinking, okay, Alex is off the front. Alex probably would have been my lead out for the sprint. Again, sprinting for, at best 10th or 11th. Not anything to super write home about. Still fun to win the field sprint, but if Alex is going to be off the front, which is awesome, hopefully he can stay away the whole time. But, kind of change what my plan would be for the sprint itself. Now you can see nobody wants to do the work. So I'm like, okay, Alex is going to stay away, at least until the very end. But you can kind of see everybody splits and says, hey, who wants to do the work to catch those 2 guys? Everyone's probably like me. I mean, one, I'm not going to chase my own teammate, but two, I don't know. I'm sprinting for 11th. I don't know. I don't know if I really care to do the work to catch those two guys. That's what you see here. The reason they can stay away now for quite a bit longer is no one wants to be the pace setter, and so it's a pretty casual pace of 22 miles per hour. And I'm just gonna sit in here and see if they bring him back. But now again, I'm just thinking, find the right wheel for the final sprint. For whatever it's for, 10th or 15th, whatever. All right, so now we're going to be coming into the final lap of the race. We're going to see a couple of guys way to the left attack. I'm in a bad position here, just, couldn't react if I wanted to. Was kind of boxed in. But luckily, everyone does kind of surge. A couple more guys go. And once you start to see the pace pick up like this, it's like, okay, we're probably going to bring those guys back. They're just picking up the pace. They're not gonna stay away if everybody's willing to put in the dig there. Okay, and we are on to the last lap of the race. You can hear the bell. So now it's all about, hopefully conserve some energy. Time to get into the right position, which is towards the front. Obviously, we still have a long way to go, a couple of minutes to get to the end. And, find the right wheel. For me, I'm assuming, I know Kyle's in the race. Super strong sprinter. And so that's the wheel I want to be on. So, but we see a surge. At the end of the day, it's also just about being at the front. So, if you see the wheel you want at the very front with you, when it comes down to the sprint, then that's the wheel you want to get on. But also you just want to be there. So, okay, coming into the straightaway before the hairpin turn. Again, nothing crazy going on here. Just gonna sit on this wheel. Still got a lot of time until that sprint. But we're, I don't know, for 6th wheel or something right now. 4th wheel. So this is generally, again, it's going to be a little bit of a washing machine probably. But in a pretty good spot here. You see, I got a little bit worried. You see all those guys just really go in the inside corner so they can get to the front. So now I'm back at like 10th position. Again, not a big deal. Still got a lot of time to go. Easily able to get to where I want to be in time. Move a little bit up on the outside. Now this looks good. A couple of guys really increasing the pace, which means stretching the field, which is awesome. I just got to make sure I can navigate to where I want to be. Don't love to be boxed in on the left and the right here, but again, still got time. The hill can easily make it so you can kind of push to where you want to go, as long as you can have the power to get up it. All right, so coming around that corner up to the hill, and I'm on a great wheel because this guy surges, and so I just follow him. And all right, so we'll replay this here in a second, but I need to have closed this gap. I should have been right on his wheel, but what I do see is we see Kyle come into frame, and he takes that wheel. I go, okay, well if that's Kyle's the wheel I want to be on. If it's not that guy's, so I'll let him take it. But then as we come to this corner, he gets a little squirrely. And I go into the grass. That's the end of my race. So we'll replay that in slow-mo and talk through it here. Okay, so we're back on the hill. And again, first mistake, I should have just gotten right on this guy's wheel. I felt really fresh at this point. I felt really good. I should have closed that gap and been right on his wheel, and then none of this would have happened. So that's the first thing. I don't know why I didn't close the gap. I felt good where I was at, but that allowed Kyle to get into that spot. He gets right on the wheel. I do see pretty quickly who it is, and I immediately am like, okay, I'm gonna get behind him. But that's probably the second mistake. Not because being behind Kyle's a bad idea, but I should have probably gone where this guy went and said, you know what, I'm going to claim the inside, and I'm going to get right next to you, so you can't really even shut me down. He does have to slow down, because what Kyle can do is really close that door. But you see him right there, slide once and then slide twice. I don't know if the second one, the first one looks like he loses a little bit of traction when the guy kind of comes inside, and he kind of, I don't know, kind of skips a little bit. But that second time, I don't know if that was him moving into kind of his sprint position, right? So him going, I'm going to take this outside lane and then just taking it, or if that was again kind of losing traction a second time. But I overreacted. I mean, that's the big thing. I don't think we clipped wheels. It's hard to tell. But I look like we were going to hit, and so I immediately just bailed to the right and put myself in the grass. It's better than being on the pavement. There's a chance that I could have just, he jumped out to the outside, I jumped on his wheel and went, but it felt like he was about to hit my wheel, and I bailed. So that was the end of the race. Went in the grass. What I didn't actually see before or live when it was happening was that there was a golf cart right there in the lane. I'm assuming you guys saw it, but that's because in the leader group, multiple people crashed in that exact same spot. So they were there in the golf cart picking up the other people as I flew through the grass next to them. So, I think I ended up taking 46th out of 47th out of the finishers. Again, probably 5 people or so DNF'd. So, not exactly a result that you phone home about, but, really first P123 race that I finished. Felt good in the whole second half of it. Had no issues. I was almost dropped in the first half, but really felt great. Felt good. Was able to finish it. No DNF for me, and I had a great time. Great course. Great event. And it's bike racing. You try to jockey for position, and sometimes you just have to bail out to be able to race another day. So thank you for joining, and look forward to seeing you at the next race.